Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that I think a lot of you are going to find really interesting and maybe even a little too close to home.
Oh, yeah. This one's a big one.
It is. We're talking about the kind of tricky dynamic between narcissists and people pleasers.
Uh-huh.
Now, we've all probably encountered these types of personalities.
Yeah, for sure.
But we want to go a bit deeper today, Figure out why these two are so often drawn to each other.
Right. Like, what is that all about?
Exactly. And of course, we've got to look at what can go wrong, especially for the people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to lay the groundwork here, I've been doing a lot of reading on this.
Me too. Me too. It's fascinating.
It is.
It really is.
And there are so many different perspectives on this whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so interesting.
Right.
There's not just one simple answer,
No, not at all. It's complex.
It's complex.
But let's start with the narcissist.
Okay.
And I think most of us, we can picture that person.
Right.
The one who always needs to be the center of attention, always needing validation, always needing compliments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then the question becomes, why would a people pleaser, someone who by nature, right, is always trying to make other people happy?
Right.
Why would they be drawn to that?
Well, think about it this way. A narcissist is, they're always looking for that admiration. Like you said, they need that constant reassurance. And a people pleaser, they're practically hardwired to give it.
So it's like they fit together, like a puzzle piece.
In a way, yeah. The people pleaser, without even realizing it, they end up validating the narcissist's grandiose self-image. They're feeding that ego.
Wow. So it's not even that the narcissist is necessarily like actively seeking out a people pleaser.
No, not necessarily.
It's more like this unspoken need on both sides that just gets met.
Exactly, at least at first.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But we all know, I think, that this is not going to be a healthy dynamic in the long run.
Right.
So where do things start to go wrong?
Well, that initial need for validation might seem harmless enough at the beginning.
Right.
But it actually sets the stage for a dynamic that can become quite damaging. Because you've got to remember, a narcissist is primarily focused on their own needs. And often they're very skilled at manipulating others to get those needs met.
Right.
So now imagine someone who thrives on control connecting with someone who avoids conflict at all costs.
Oh.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Like a recipe for disaster?
Pretty much. You're talking about a really uneven playing field.
Oh, I can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, the narcissist is taking advantage of the people pleaser's good nature.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's often what happens. And it's not always intentional either. I've read some research that suggests that some narcissists may not even be fully aware of the impact of their behavior.
Really?
Yeah, and they might genuinely believe that their needs are just more important,
Wow.
But of course, that doesn't really excuse the behavior, right? Or make the impact on the people pleaser any less real.
Right, exactly. And for the people pleaser in this scenario, and emotionally what's going on there, it can't be healthy to constantly put their own needs on the back burner like that.
No, it's definitely not. People pleasers often carry a lot of baggage, really. A lot of times, it stems from deep fears of rejection and abandonment. And these fears, they often come from early experiences.
Like in childhood.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe they learned that keeping the peace, keeping everyone happy, that's the way to avoid being left alone.
That's really sad.
It is. It's like they get caught in this cycle of trying to earn love and acceptance by constantly giving and giving and giving.
It's heartbreaking. So we have the narcissist who needs constant validation.
Yeah.
And the people pleaser who is just desperately trying to avoid conflict and rejection. That's a recipe for a pretty messed up power dynamic.
It really is. And, the first step is recognizing it. You can't change what you don't acknowledge, right?
It's so true. So to recap, I guess, people pleasers often find themselves drawn to narcissists because of that initial validation. It feels good.
Right. Makes them feel needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, this whole dynamic, it becomes really detrimental. And the people pleaser's kindness, their generosity, it ends up being exploited.
And if you're listening to this and thinking, oh my gosh, this is me, or this is someone I know, please don't despair, because recognizing these patterns, that's the first step to breaking free.
Right. And it's so important to remember, it's not about blaming yourself.
No, absolutely not.
It's about understanding the dynamics at play.
Exactly. So instead of blaming yourself, try asking yourself, okay, how can I start setting healthier boundaries?
Yeah.
How can I start asserting my own needs in my relationships?
Those are really powerful questions. And, if anyone out there is feeling stuck, please, please don't hesitate to reach out for professional help. A therapist can provide amazing support and guidance in navigating these really, really complex dynamics.
Absolutely. It's not something you have to figure out on your own.
No, not at all.
There's help out there.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. I hope you found it helpful. And as always, stay tuned for more deep dives into the complexities of human behavior.
See you next time.
Bye.